Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Rabbi Moshe Otero with Ways of Israel, and we are here this morning to continue our learning with Sefer Ikkarim, the fundamentals or basics of Judaism, with the information from Rabbi Joseph Albo, a 15th century Jewish rabbi, who brings about and summarizes Judaism in a philosophical way. And this is what we're covering every morning here on the Ways of Israel. So join us and share this video with those who wish to be informed, educated regarding our great Jewish rabbis of the past, which basically summarizes a lot of what Judaism is and the very basic of the basics, which is the reason why we're doing this series. So let's jump right into it. Chapter 9, where it begins to now describe about the different attributes, if they're essential or not essential, if they're the essence, or how can we deal with the different attributes. So let's jump right in. And before I'm going to say the blessing for the coffee and everything that has to do with drinking, even water. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nihiyah bidbaro. An attribute, says Rabbi Albo, by which a thing is characterized is not the essence of the thing characterized, but something attaching to the essence. For an attribute must be either something essential or something accidental. And if it's something essential, as when we say man is a rational animal, it's not an attribute added to the essence, but it is like saying man is man, for man is nothing else except animality and rationality. It is merely an explanation of the name, and since, by hypothesis, the attribute is the essence of the thing characterized, not something pertaining to the essence. There is no objection to ascribing to God an attribute of the sort, since it's not something added to the essence, for a plurality of words does not necessarily represent a plurality of things, but is merely used to explain the nature of the essence. Thus, if we say the body is nutritive sensitive, these words do not add any plurality to the meaning of the word animal. But we must know that God can be characterized by two things as denoting his essence, in the way in which animality and rationality denotes the essence of a man. Nor can God be characterized by one word, as denoting as a part of his essence. For either the case, God would be composed of two things. But we have already proved that God is absolutely simple. But he may be characterized by an attribute, which is in his explanation by the name by which he is called. This can be the case only if the attribute is something essential, which explains the essence of the thing characterized. For example, if we say the first cause is a necessary existence and the absolute truth, here the words are explanation of the term necessary existence, as we shall see when we deal with the word truth. If an attribute is something accidental, it is clear that it cannot be ascribed to God, for an accident requires a subject. An accident not being able to exist by itself, God would therefore be the substance bearing accidents. Now, if the existence of a substance and necessity of its essence are independent of the accident, then the accident may exist or not exist, whereas the substance exists by necessity. God will therefore be composed of two things, necessary existence and the possible existence. As necessary existence, he would be the cause; as possible existence, effect. He would therefore be the cause and effect at the same time. While being a substance depending upon itself, this is a contradiction which is impossible. On the other hand, if his existence and necessity of his existence are not independent of the accident, then the accident is necessary existence, and the substance bearing accident a necessary existence likewise, and there would be two necessary existence. Or else one is composed of two elements, substance and accident. But all of this has been shown to be absurd. It's clear, therefore, that God cannot be characterized by any attributes, essential or accidental, and this would make it necessary to reject all divine attributes except those which are explanatory of God's necessary existence, as we said before. On the other hand, if we can be shown that God must have attributes, as it follows from the above-mentioned proof that if God is a necessary existence, he must be one, else he would not be necessary existence. And it's clear, on the other hand, that the unity is in everything an attribute, added to the essence. For example, for if Reuben were a qua man, a horse, and a tree, could not have unity, since unity is by hypothesis quiddity of Reuben, nor could witness or wisdom be characterized as one. Without a doubt, then, unity is something added to the essence. Now, since unity is something added to the essence, and God, as we have seen, cannot be characterized by any attributes except such as is an explanatory of his name, i.e., explaining certain aspects of God, which are only outwardly, as it were, we must explain in what way it can be said that God is one. For unity is not like the other attributes ascribed to God, named after God's act. Having explained this meaning of unity, we will then discuss the same questions concerning the other attributes. In what way can they be ascribed to God? And here ends Rabbi Albo's chapter 9 of Book 2. In chapter 10, he begins to go into and delve into how the terms apply to that which gives a specialization and separation of an existing thing which is itself distinguished from another. And so he gets into this idea that these different attributes only explains more so than is a definition of the essence of the existence of God. So here we end in chapter 9, and I want to thank you for being part of this learning this morning, and may God bless you greatly, and remember to be part of the ways of Israel.